Okay. Hi, Amanda. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I'm talking today with Amanda from Kimberley Homes. She's their infill specialist. And infill is
Mm,
really intriguing to me because that seems to be something new that everyone seems to be interested in, but not quite sure how it works or if it is it something they should be looking into when they're thinking about maybe getting a new home. Should they leave an established neighborhood? Should they, maybe
hmm
look inside somewhere they want to live? So how popular is infill then?
It's become increasingly popular as we've seen driving around the city. There's more and more properties coming up. And I think, too, as newer communities, lots are getting a little bit smaller. We're getting further and further into the outskirts. We definitely have clients that want to be closer to work, want to be closer to downtown, closer to the university, closer to where maybe they grew up. So it's definitely become more popular, and there's lots of great options in the city for bigger lots or different product that you can build out there. So,
Yeah, you
mhm,
can get some nice big lots that weren't
mhm,
in comparison to what you would do in a new one for sure, unless
right.
yeah, you move out to
Yeah.
an acreage.
Yeah, exactly.
So you were mentioning that some people like it because of location.
Mhm.
What other, like, who else does in Whitfill work best for other than just location, do you find?
I think often it's people who want to have walkability. They want to be closer to amenities, closer to the action, maybe particular schools that they're interested in for their kids,
Yeah.
or potentially even family or grandparents, or just a particular area that they've fallen in love with, mature trees.
Yeah.
Any of those things. Something that also is, we talked about bigger lots. Sometimes those bigger lots can become two lots. So then that can be a really interesting option because you build for your family on one side, potentially you sell the other lot, or potentially
Mm.
build another property to sell or rent. So there's a lot of options out there.
Yeah, sounds really interesting. Wow, you
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of options, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you've kind of touched on what makes infill more appealing than a
Mm-hmm.
regular, like a new build, new development area. So I would
Mm-hmm.
imagine it is like the establishment of the neighborhood. Amenities are all right where you want them to be.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
and it sounds like it, with maybe these larger lots and making two homes on it, like you said, you have the potential to pay back your own home that you're going to live in better, maybe move in your aging parents right next door, that kind of thing. That's really
I do get that. Yeah, I actually have one client and closer to the university area, and they want to be really close to work. They work at the university, and they want their parents nearby.
yeah.
So they're building a property that eventually they could potentially sell, but for the meantime, get the parents living there, helping out with the grandkids and things like that. So yeah, we get a lot of that. I have another client building an infill, him and a really good friend. They decided they wanted to be neighbors. So they split a lot in a very expensive neighborhood that they couldn't afford to be in just on their own. Big lot. They are still getting 30 wide homes on each lot, and they pick their neighbors. So yeah, it works
And that's
great.
great because, it makes a difference if you can choose your neighbors for sure.
Yeah,
A lot of us would be
exactly.
like to be able to do that kind of thing. So
Hmm.
if I was out and looking around the neighborhoods at lots, if I didn't
Hmm.
already own a lot, what would you recommend as the best key things for me to be keeping an eye out for?
Realistically, I would want to get you with a partner, a real estate partner. We do work with a team that will help find the right property.
Okay.
But just in general terms, I get involved really early. So
Hmm.
if there was a lot that you were interested in before you even put an offer, you'd give me a call. I'd pop out there. I'd get my site guy out there. I'd get drafting involved, looking, because a lot to you might seem like, oh, wow, that's a really long lot. But in reality, sometimes they can be really wide and short, and you're more limited, right? So we want to take a look at that. If we're wanting to subdivide, because we've already talked about that a little bit today, we need at least 50 wide. So the city will not subdivide anything narrower than 50.
Hmm.
And then generally speaking, we want our lots at least 115 feet long, just to be able to get a good product on it if we're doing a detached or an attached garage, depending. So those
So
are some general features. Yeah. And
so-
obviously the condition of the house, right?
yeah.
Um, this isn't going to make sense to buy something that has a really great house on it, um, because there's going to be value in that, and then your lot price will go up.
So before maybe I even go around the neighborhood I like, seeing what's
Mhm.
there, I should find out from you what
Mhm.
I want to be, what my wish list is, and get some
Exactly.
kind of
Yeah. Yeah. Then
guidance.
we know what to look for. Yeah.
Yeah.
By
Oh,
no means do you need to know all of those details, but if you kind of have a general idea of what part of the city you want to be in, we
mhm.
can set up the land search that way.
Right.
And yeah, there's a lot of details. So we try to break it out into little bite-sized pieces.
Like some chunks so I don't get overwhelmed. I
Yeah,
totally
exactly.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you talked about it a little bit, but you were mentioning that you have, like, I was going to ask about what services that you at Kimberley as their infill specialist offer in guiding
Mhm.
me through, or whoever's interested in an infill through this. And you mentioned that you have a team.
Yes, so we really do. We're meant to be full service. So everything from the concept of, hey, Amanda, I'm interested in Infill. What does it entail? So we can sit down, have a coffee or a Zoom meeting right now, and chat it through what the steps are. Definitely getting involved in a land search if you don't already have the land, enlisting you, Julie, in the financing side of it, because that's a little bit trickier than just a
All of
regular
this.
build.
Yeah.
And just having the right people in place, our partners. And then in-house, we have in-house design and drafting. So I get drafting involved super early, looking at the RPR, looking at the property, even Google mapping to see how much room we have on the lot. And then just the overall design of the house, all the way through to permitting. We have excellent relationships with the city. I meet with the city quite often, just to talk about what we can and can't do on the property. And then all the way through construction, warranty, everything. So we're meant to be kind of one-stop shop, and then enlisting our partners where we need.
It sounds important for someone to work with expertise like that, because it's not a cookie cutter situation. Each
No.
lot's probably, and each home is going to have its
Yeah.
own situation, and it's unique, as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to maybe a new development where it's like you've got these
Mm-hmm.
choose from on these lots. We know exactly how it's going to work out, or pretty close. So yeah,
Yeah.
everything's individual. And I guess if you like something more original, then infill is quite more unique for that person or family who is looking for something that really speaks for them. Is that
Yeah, and that's so important too. I always look at the land as such a big part of the investment, and we don't want to just stick a standard floor plan on a property, because maybe that property has this beautiful west light that's coming in the evening, and we want to make sure that the rooms that you're in the evening capture that light. So we want to make sure that's important. I always say, why are we giving the kids who don't pay the mortgage the view? We want to make sure that if we've got big, beautiful trees, that we're utilizing it for the master bedroom or bonus room or things like that. So we want to, really honor the property too, and make sure that we're utilizing it.
wow, that's awesome. So would you say
Mhm.
now is a good time to be thinking about an infill project, if that was something that everyone's now stuck in their homes and thinking,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this
I'm
is this
getting a
my
lot of
quarantine?
calls right. I'm getting a lot of calls right now. This isn't working. That's not working. I can't do another year in this house. So yeah, I mean, the time's always right. Infill will take a little bit longer, so it never hurts to get started. I get people all the time that say, I'm not ready to get started for 2 years, but realistically, you could spend a couple months finding the lot. They've got to enlist you in it, Julie.
Yeah.
Spending time with me, getting it through the city. So it is a little bit more time consuming. So it's never too early to be picking up the phone and starting to think about it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
doing some initial legwork or some research so that when you are ready, you can hit the
Yeah,
ground running for sure.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
That's great. Do you have anything else that you think is important for someone to consider other than what we've touched on, or is it all pretty individual to the person?
It's a very individual process, but again, I just really stress to people, don't be overwhelmed by it, because we just take you through each step, and it is really worth the time investment,
Mhm.
because these communities just continue to grow and flourish, and the value really holds true in infill. So if it's something you wanted to do, there's no reason to not start thinking about it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well,
Mhm.
thank you so much,
Yeah,
Amanda. I really appreciate helping me describe the side of the infill.
yeah,
I know that people are interested in it. Next week, I will do a short blurb by myself about the financing for anybody who is interested
perfect.
in
Yeah.
looking into an infill. There is some things that you need to consider for sure. It's not as straight as
Mhm.
purchasing a pre-owned home,
Mhm.
and a little more to consider than when you're looking to build in a new development as well too.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
some other things to consider. Okay,
Mhm.
I will be posting this, Amanda, with your contact information at Kimberley and a link to the website as well. I see you and the
Perfect.
number on there. And if anyone has any questions for myself or Amanda, please feel free to contact us at any time. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Julie.
Thanks, Amanda. Take care.